All right, well, welcome to Floatcast from the Reno River Festival, and today we have a very special guest with us today, Canaan Smith, the headliner for tonight's Saturday night performance. We are so psyched that you're here, man. Thanks so much for being here.
It's awesome to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You got some White Claws going on, it looks like. Man.
Yeah, well, we put down all the Modelos this morning.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Save one for me, though. Thank you so much.
We hit Modelo's about 10 o'clock
You
this
somehow
morning.
knew I'm not a White Claw fan.
Yeah.
I just had to have the Mexican lager to make me feel like it's beer drinking weather out
It is
here.
beer drinking weather. It's funny you say that. So Faded Floater, we're all about good times, having fun in the sun, and music is a huge staple for all of our float days, right? And naturally, beer drinking weather has been a staple on that playlist from day one. So
Love that.
Yeah, tell us about that, man. Tell us a little bit about that background.
I grew up in Virginia, big family, 4 brothers, 1 sister, and we all played music at one point, and decided when I was in college, like freshman year of college, that I was just kind of putzing around and chasing this girl I didn't belong with in the first place, and realized I needed to just do what made me happy. And so I picked up everything and moved to Nashville, and didn't know anybody, didn't know a soul, had no connections whatsoever. I just kind of went old school and hit the ground running, just meeting people, putting pieces together one at a time until I had a little bit of a circle of friends and a network of people who were trying to do this music thing, and you make each other better. Iron sharpens iron, so you surround yourself with people who are going to elevate you, and I feel lucky and blessed to have had different pivotal people at those necessary times when I needed to elevate my game. And I signed a publishing deal first as a songwriter, and then a few years after that, signed my first record deal with Universal.
So, it's funny. We came up with this idea at Faded Floater a year ago.
Yeah.
Started our business 9 months ago. And we were talking a lot last night. We were having some beers and talking about your journey. What was the first honky-tonk you played in? Because this is our first honky-tonk.
Oh, sick.
By being at this festival.
Yeah, awesome. Well, in Nashville, Broadway is full of honky-tonks. That's what it's known for. Music City is what they call Nashville. And so the birth of country music really is right in that town, and it still is what pipes out the most country music in the world. And so they have all these, the Broadway strip is lined with all these classic bars. Well, it's a lot of new now, but there's still some very historic places like Tootsie's, and Second Fiddle, and you got Legends Corner down there. And so I think what I found more like my speed, though, was off Broadway. There was a street called Demumbrian, where the college kids hung out. It was less touristy, and it was more college thing. And there was a place called On the Rocks, and that was where I cut my teeth. Playing with a live band for the first time, country music. I grew up kind of playing with bands and stuff through high school, but when I moved to Nashville to do country, that was kind of my first country long-standing gig there in Nashville.
So you got a big summer ahead of you. I saw you guys were up in Lake Tahoe last week.
Yeah, we were just there last week.
Hanging there.
Yeah, it was so beautiful.
You're here right now. Where are you going next? Where are you excited about?
We got shows pretty close to home coming up in Barco, North Carolina. It's like the Nags Head area, so it's just like an hour and a half from where I grew up in Virginia. So I'll see some hometowners. That'll be fun. And I'm working on a new album right now.
Oh, right on.
Due out later this summer.
Cool.
Sweet.
Full-length album. It'll be my 3rd studio album. I'm really excited about it.
Can you drop the name, or are we too early on where we're at on that?
Let's wait for it. I want to tell you, but I need to get my assets lined up.
Shooter's got to shoot, Got to make the ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
No, but I got a float story for you.
You know what? Float stories are always welcome here on this Floatcast. So, what do you got?
In Nashville, you've got the Little Harpeth. It's a river along the Natchez Trace Parkway, and it's about 40 minutes west of town. And my wife was in grad school. We had just been married probably a year, and she started grad school, and summer rolled around, and some of her friends from class wanted to go cabrewing, like basically booze cruising in a canoe. And so we took these canoes on the Little Harpeth and just had us a day. Everybody brought their beers in the coolers, and there's like these rock beaches you can roll up on and get out and party a little bit and just pace yourself and have fun. And I was feeling buzzy, and on the way back, I'm paddling. I've got the oars in the back of the canoe, so I'm steering and controlling basically. And Christy's just up front, kind of chilling and getting sun. And I see this along the bank of the river. There's a gathering of cows right on the edge who are like cooling off in the water with their asses facing the river.
Okay.
And I just was messing with her in my head. I was like, this is a good idea, but in reality, it was so not. But I just kept on hauling ass in that canoe, beelined it straight through the back of the herd, and just, I mean, asses out. Cows who could have kicked at any minute.
She's in the front.
She's in the front.
Taking the ass into the cow.
And taking the ass into the cow. And I'm hauling that red canoe right up in there. And she's freaking out, man. She was so mad at me. It took like all of the next 2 days, I think, for her to even speak to me again. She was so scared. I mean, it was stupid, you know, when you think about they could have kicked or whatever. But I thought, you know, anything for a story.
So how long ago was that?
That would have been, we got married in 14, so 2015.
Okay, yeah. So I got married in 11.
Nice.
And before that, we did a lot of college floating and stuff. We got on the Salt River in Phoenix. Awesome. And it was before Bluetooth speakers were really a thing.
Yeah.
So I had like this really crappy portable AA battery speaker, and it's like jerry-rigged with the cord into the iPod, like duct taping it closed because nothing's waterproof. And
that's great.
But it was like, it went right back to the need for good music when you're floating.
Oh, you got to have it.
You have to have it.
You got to have it. Just, it's nice though to not have to bring the guitar and be the one playing the music when you're floating. You're just floating.
So what are some float, you know, tracks, float artists, people that you really love, like in that environment?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, there's two albums that are good for any scenario, and top to bottom albums, fantastic songs, and one of them is completely probably off the radar for a lot of people, but others in this indie kind of funk band vibe might know who they are. But Khruangbin. Okay. Khruangbin, it's like spelled Khruangbin.
I have heard them. Yeah.
There's an album called The Universe Smiles Upon You of theirs, and that from start to finish is the vibiest of vibes. Like the best, man. I put that shit on all the time.
Awesome.
We got to fit that into the list.
Second is the self-titled Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats album. Okay. Which has like Son of a Bitch on it. And I Need Never Get Old. There's just some really great songs. Tons of creative energy, but it's very float-worthy because it's easy melodies, and they sing from the soles of their feet. It's real passionate.
Yeah.
And I'm always into that. Makes me want to just kind of like get lost in the music. And I think when you're floating, you just want to close your eyes and drift off anyhow. So it's kind of a good pairing.
Totally.
Cool.
So we were talking last night. You've been in country music a number of years now, doing some really cool stuff. You had the #1 out there, toured a lot. If you were to put together your perfect opening act, middle, headliner in all of country, of the history of country, how would you build that?
Man.
Or let's call it maybe 4 or 5, because it's really hard to narrow some. I mean, you got the King out there. I mean, you got
George Strait for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, all day long.
He's the headliner.
He's the headliner. Eric Church.
Yep.
Okay.
I love his storytelling. One of my favorite songwriters is Casey Beathard, and he writes a lot of the Eric Church stuff with Eric. I really, man, that's a tough one, dude. I think Alan Jackson would be amazing because he's got so many hits.
He's playing right now.
He's another huge influence.
You see, he's doing his farewell goodbye tour this year.
Oh, he is?
It's like one more for the road, I think is what he's doing. He's going to like a dozen cities.
I got to check that out. Yeah, and then, I mean, I'd play it, obviously. I'd want to be on the bill. I'd want to be on the bill.
Of course.
I'd want to open up for George.
There you go.
That was a career goal when I moved to Nashville.
That was the next question is, where are you at? So you're the opener for George. I love it.
I'd love that.
Awesome. So, Canaan, I know you got to head over to meet and greets and some show tonight. And just before you head out, we have a couple just float questions that we ask everybody. All right. So a couple quick hitters for you. All
right.
Yeah. So from a float perspective, river, lake, pool, ocean.
River.
River?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Inner tube, noodle.
Inner tube.
Inner tube. Okay. And then belly flop or cannonball?
Cannonball.
Cannonball.
And then last
All right.
question, best float song. What are you kicking the day off with?
It's probably a Bob Marley song.
All right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that works with water. It just goes with water. And the Rasta vibes. You know, I'm always smoking something out there when I'm floating, so it'd be a good pairing. One Love.
One Love.
One Love.
Great
There it is.
entry.
Awesome.
I got to tell you, we really appreciate it.
Thanks,
we're
guys.
new
Thanks.
at this. It's super cool to meet you. Great to
You
have
too.
you on here.
Too. Thanks for having us. Congrats on
Yeah.
the podcast.
Yeah.
Hopefully, keeps on growing. You guys get to keep on floating.
Yes, sir. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thanks, man. Well, for Floatcast here at Reno River Festival, thank you so much, Canaan Smith. I'm Bryan. That's Caleb. We'll see you next time. Keep floating.
Float on.